All right, guys, welcome to the show. Which bald guy do we have here? It's Tim the bald guy. If you guys don't get the joke here, Tim had his head down. If you guys are watching, if you guys are in the car, Tim had his head down before the show started because Tom Santinello was on his phone when we started last episode, so he's kind of taking a shot at Tom.
We got two bald guys on here. Oh, I just hit the mic. See, I'm so unprofessional.
Wow, you guys are both unprofessional. Terrible starts to the show. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Where's our budget for all this crap? Come on.
I know. We need new staff here. So listen, we're talking starts and sits week 3. We're going to go through every position and talk about the optimal plays and guys to start and guys to sit. It's very simple, Tim. It's not a very difficult concept here.
Yeah, and you know what? We go into it fairly well, but we don't go into this like super deep right here. You do another show on, is it Saturday morning or Sunday morning?
Saturday morning, I do a DFS show.
Yeah, where you give them more specific. This is good. This is really good. It gives you a general idea with some serious information, but then you got to break it down a little better, man. I mean, what corners are out? You got to really look at all that stuff.
Yeah, this is more for year long, but again, at the end of the day, there's a lot of like, do I start this guy or that guy? This is going to answer a lot of your questions. So, I mean, because I get it asked a lot. So a perfect example of a question this week, since we're starting with quarterbacks, is do I go Ryan Tannehill, who's got maybe around the 12th to 13th easiest matchup? Do I go Ryan Tannehill or do I go Matt Ryan, who's got arguably the 3rd to 4th hardest matchup versus position? So we're going to let you know who's got the easier matchup. And sometimes, it's up to you guys to make that decision. It's sometimes a coin toss. Now, I want to tell you that last week I sat Matt Ryan because he had a slightly harder matchup than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers coming off a good week 1. Week 2, Matt Ryan outperformed Aaron Rodgers. It didn't matter who had the easier matchup. So this is the challenge with starts and sits, Tim. And I got screwed in one league significantly because I did end up starting Hawkinson over Gesicki. And I started again Rodgers over Ryan. And there's another guy. Oh, yeah, I sat Diggs. And I sat McLaurin as well in another league. But, I mean, how do you know that they're going to have these huge 30-point games? You don't.
Any given Sunday, baby. Say it all the time. There is, no matter what you say, there is an element of luck to this. And some days it just rolls the right way for a certain guy.
Well, that's the thing with DFS. I talk about that on the Saturday DFS show because sometimes you enter these guaranteed prize pools, and there's literally like 500,000 people in here. And you could do all the research, because I do. You could do all the research in the world, and your lineup wins like $5. And some guy who just randomly picks a guy that breaks out that week in their lineup, they just have to, like, for example, let's go back to last Thursday here. It was Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I had Kareem Hunt in my lineup. I didn't have Nick Chubb, but somebody actually started Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Odell. They had everybody who played well. It's because there's so many people playing, right? So it's very hard to win sometimes on DFS.
Oh, yeah, especially in those big pools, man. Like you say, some people will just pick at random, or they'll pick off of a point value system, whatever the case may be, and they just get lucky. It happens.
Yeah. All right, so let's start off with the quarterbacks here.
Hey, sorry, before we get into this, let's do one more, because I think I know where you stand on this, and maybe you know where I do as well. So it really sucked. Saquon went down last week. I had him on one of my special teams. Damn, did I get slaughtered last week. Either way, everybody is drooling about Freeman going there now. And I thought I saw you even say some things like, yeah, man, spend big. I'm like, are you kidding me? Saquon can't get the job done here. What makes you think Freeman is going to come in and do an amazing job and get all these? It's not going to happen. If Saquon can't do it, Freeman's not doing it.
Well, I don't know about that because Saquon had a couple of runs where he kind of broke out, but it just takes a little while to get it. And it depends on who they're playing as well. So if it's an easier matchup, they got a better chance. They're playing the 49ers. They're really banged up right now. I mean, the only thing is learning the playbook at this point, but I think he's going to get the volume. He's a shifty back. He's going to be able to, if he gets a hole plugged up, he's able to cut and run through it. I think if the volume is there, I think if they just open up some gaps for him, and depending on which defense he plays, he's going to be solid. Now, I don't have him as a true, I don't see him as a plug and play to replace Saquon, but I have him as maybe a solid flex play until he gets integrated. So I think, why wouldn't you pick him up if you're a Saquon owner?
Yeah, I don't mind picking him up as a maybe it'll happen, but so many guys that are talking about, hey, I've got $100 fab, how much should I spend? Or, I went after him and didn't get him, but still, I only went after him thinking maybe he will get something in a couple weeks or something like that. This week, next week, yeah, he's a veteran player. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to come in and just play his game. But like you say, he does need to learn their routes. He needs to learn their playbook. I don't know, man. It's a flyer, and I saw so many people like drooling over him like he was going to be the answer.
It all depends. It really all depends, man. We're gonna have to see how that offense goes again, depending on matchup, depending on how the O-line holds up. But I wanted to say here again with waiver wire, hopefully you guys got who you wanted, but it came to a decision. Like there wasn't really that many running backs. It was him or Dion Lewis, and then there was Mike Davis with Carolina. And like, do you really care about Mike Davis? He's really not that good. And then he's only good for about 3 to 5 weeks until CMC comes back. So he's a temporary fix, whereas Freeman could be more of a long-term solution. So he was really the best running back to get. That's why I made a big deal out of him. But I'm not crazy about him.
Yeah, and you're right. He's got the best opportunity because he's in a position where he could take over for the full year. I just don't see it possibly happening and on such a crap team. Ugh.
Right.
That's what scared me, and that's what kind of turned me off with everybody hyping it up.
By the way, Tim, do you have any funny sexual items on those counters there, left, right? Because I made this.
I was going to say, whoa, what? Did I leave something out?
You leave something out there? Because I actually got the screen wider and I can see some of the products on there. So could everybody else. So I can zoom in and out now, Tim. I've got that ability now with production.
It's funny. I've seen some of those memes where a girl takes a photo or something, and in the background you see like a bottle of lube sitting on her dresser or something. Sorry, guys, I'm not that exciting.
Yeah, he's not. So I don't see any Vaseline out there. So we're okay. All right. So let's continue on here.
I'll go get Betsy for the next show and put her back there somewhere.
Some people might not remember Betsy. It was an inflatable doll that we were playing as a character 2 years ago. It was pretty funny. We brought her to a trade show. Tim and the inflatable Betsy.
I still got her.
We got to get started with the starts and sits, guys. You know what I hate with the comments? I mean, we have got to have some fun here. You got to have a little bit of fluff. So people can learn our personalities, learn about us, have a conversation about what's going on in the real world. But it's funny because some people in the comments be like, video starts at 4 minutes, but we're actually entertaining. Whereas I was watching this one video and it was, I don't know if you heard about Road Animal Warrior died. The Legion of Doom guy died.
Yeah.
Into wrestling. That's pretty sad, man. That was one of the best tag teams of all time in WWE. And he died. What is it? Road Animal Warrior, whatever his name is. Road Animal. Anyway,
I think his name was Animal, and he was part of the Road Warriors, was he not? Like this is going a long way back, man. And I'm never been a big wrestling fan.
That's right. He was Legion of Doom. So, anyways, the Animal. And I went to listen to his podcast, and I'm telling you, it was 7 minutes of ads. And actually, we're actually talking or giving content. They actually had 7 minutes of ads. Go listen to it. It's called the Road Warrior Podcast or something. He did one on September 11th before he passed away. And man, it was like ad after ad after ad after ad. And even when they started talking for 5 minutes, it was an ad. And I get it. We're all about making money. But man, 7 minutes of straight ads, it's insane. But yeah, it's funny in the comments, people dive in, they say stuff like that. So video doesn't start till 4 minutes. Dude, we just gave a lot of content about Davis, about CMC. It starts when it starts.
We're still talking football most of the time or something football related. I'm sorry if we're boring you.
No, it's only one of those two. It's always a bad apple. All right, so let's get to this, Tim. All right, so quarterbacks here. The video starts at this time. Mitch Trubisky has a good matchup. He's playing Atlanta. Atlanta's been giving up a lot of points. I mean, what a lead they blew last week. It was absolutely insane. Mitch Trubisky, good matchup here. In DFS, he's pretty good value, $5,700 on DraftKings, which we'll talk about on Saturday. But arguably one of the easiest matchups. He had a good week 1, mediocre week 2, 15 points. I like him for this week, but as a backup or a second quarterback in a 2 QB league, don't start him over your starters, Tim. I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't want to say he never does anything spectacular, but it's few and far between. So I'm looking at the numbers here. Week 1, he had 24 points. I'd be pretty damn happy with that. Last week, 15. Yeah, that's kind of like an average, low-end average for a quarterback, I think. So, yeah, don't get excited. If you got a better option, definitely play a better option. But Trubisky has a easy matchup. Atlanta's going to put up points, though, man. That's the thing. So Atlanta can easily put up a 30-point game no matter what defense they're playing. Obviously, we saw that last week. So I made the mistake, too, of sitting Ryan. Now, luckily, I picked up Burrow by accident. I wanted to get Jimmy G. I don't know how I got Burrow, but Burrow put up 24 points as well. So I was okay. I was okay with my mistake.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like the second guy here at the second easy matchup is Minshew versus Miami. What a phenomenal matchup. Now you can see that DraftKings already caught on to this, had him at 6,400. But going back, Tim, to our conversations pre-draft, I was telling people, get Minshew as a backup. The only thing with difference between him and Kyler Murray was a few rushing yards and a few rushing touchdowns. You're like, oh, that's a big deal. I'm like, dude, there's only a 40-point difference. Minshew's going to get more comfortable. Now, everybody is riding the Minshew train, coming off a phenomenal week. Two weeks he's been good. 21 points week 1, 29 in week 2. The guy's looking good, Tim. And it's like I'm telling you, you could have waited on quarterback. Even Ryan Tannehill. People thought I was nuts. But had you looked at and listened to our show before, you would have had Ryan Tannehill already. Now everybody's on the Ryan Tannehill train. It's crazy.
Yeah, so when it comes to Minshew, I'm still not sold on him. I like him as a person. I think he's got a great personality. I love the way he plays off the Uncle Rico sort of thing, stuff like that. And yes, he's had, so even going back to last year, I'm looking at the numbers here. He's got a 26, 21, 29 the last 3 games. I mean, that's pretty solid numbers for a quarterback who's not considered a top dog by any means. He's got a suspect team around him, and they're not a really great team. So he gets it done. Hopefully he will continue to get better. I think Tom's a really big fan of Minshew as well. So yeah. I'm kind of seeing it now. I'm starting to buy into it a little bit. But to me, he's still not a top tier quarterback. If I don't have a better option, or I think he's got a great week this week, I'd be thinking to put him in.
Especially for DFS, but again, he is expensive at 6,400. Another easy matchup, third easiest versus position. And again, it's up to you guys to listen to this, absorb the content, and make a decision. Dak Prescott, easy matchup. He is playing Seattle. Relatively easy matchup against that defense. Dwayne Haskins, who I wouldn't be starting, but he's got the 4th easiest matchup versus position. Baker Mayfield versus the pass against Washington. Easy matchup, $5,700 on DraftKings. Teddy Bridgewater, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, all relatively easy matchups versus position. And I would say I would even consider Ryan Tannehill, Russell Wilson. Wilson's got the 12th easiest matchup, 12th easiest matchup for position, if that makes sense. But you can't sit Russell Wilson. Yes, guys like Bridgewater, Baker, Haskins have easier matchups than Wilson. But, if it's a start and sit question, do I start, Minshew? Do I start Wilson? I got to start the red hot Wilson, Tim. I have to.
Yeah, agreed. Totally.
So there's got to be some common sense to this, guys. There really does. Tough matchups versus position. Not that you're going to start this guy anyway, but Sam Darnold, really tough matchup versus Indy's defense. I think Indy as a defense this week, if you could stream them, consider streaming them. They are playing the Jets. And me and Tom were talking about this. They literally have no offense. There's no weapons there. So even if as a surprise upset, but I mean, the weapons aren't there, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. The Jets suck.
They suck. Years to wow us, and guess what? We're not wowed. This is interesting. Let's talk about this. We didn't really talk about this since we're talking about quarterbacks, but you heard about Tyrod Taylor. So apparently, I think he cracked his rib.
Whoa. Now they're saying the doctor punctured his lung. Like, you are such garbage, the doctor tries to take you out.
What kind of doctor is this? Like, I don't understand. I mean, and this is what the ongoing joke is right now, that basically the doctor owns Justin Herbert in a dynasty league or a fantasy league. So that's the only logical explanation. So from my understanding, I don't know exactly what happened here, but to my understanding, his rib was broken. They went to administer a needle or something to take rid of the pain, get rid of the pain. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how this stuff works, but they punctured a lung in the process. It's going to put him out. Some people saying 4 to 6 weeks. Some people saying the season. I don't know all the details, but it doesn't matter about the details. All that matters is that Herbert is starting, which is well-deserved because he had a good game week 2. And another thing is that, like, this doctor needs to be fired. These are professional athletes.
Wait, though. Crap happens, dude. People get, I've had a spinal tap. I have had a big ass needle put into a section between two of my vertebrae. And there's a risk. There is a risk that they hit a nerve ending, that they can paralyze you just by giving you a needle. So crap happens. Man, I feel sorry for this doctor because, yes, he's probably very well paid. He's probably very well respected.
Not anymore.
This is going to hurt him bad.
Not anymore.
But honestly, yes, crap happens. I'm sure he feels horrible. I'm sure he's feeling all the pressure of it. But hopefully, everything works out for him. I don't wish him bad. I
don't wish him bad either. I think he should be fired. If I'm a professional athlete, somebody punctures my lung and it really takes my career away or hurts me for that season or even for a game, I'd be pissed. Yeah. And I know accidents happen, but see, again, I don't know the risk of this type of procedure. Was he warned? Was it something that is common that lungs get punctured? If it's something that is common, let's say 10 out of every 20, you get a punctured lung, then yeah, I can excuse. But if this is a very rare occurrence, the doctor just made, there's a lot of variables here. But the bottom line is, where we're trying to get to is Herbert is starting, but he does have a tough matchup against Carolina secondary. It's not going to be easy for him, and he came out strong. But what's annoying me about the situation is that the coaching staff was saying Tyrod's their starter, even after that good performance. And Tyrod just sucks. He's not a good quarterback. And they said, even after that performance, this is a guy, Herbert's going to be the franchise in the future of the team. Tyrod is not. Tyrod is just not that good. He's a super, super poor man's Russell Wilson. He tries to get mobile with his feet. He's just not the same as in his accuracy, and he just can't manage games the same way. He's a super poor man's homeless version of Russell Wilson. I mean, I don't know how to describe it.
How much can you dump on a guy?
He's not good. He's like a Darnold. He's like a Carson Wentz. These guys aren't good quarterbacks. They're there as a filler. They're there because the team just needs to find somebody better to fill that position. Sam Darnold sucked. And now, mind you, Sam Darnold actually has an excuse. He has no weapons. But Carson Wentz, man, a guy that got paid $128 million, does not deserve it. So anyway, we're going to see this week. Me and Tom talked about it. Carson Wentz, he's going to be under a microscope this week. Anyway, Justin Herbert, tough matchup. Matt Ryan, tough matchup. But how do you sit Matt Ryan? Like, I just can't. This is a decision.
After last week, I am not sitting Matt Ryan.
No, you can't. He's throwing for 5,000 yards a game. And again, fact check. People are going to say 5,000. It's funny because Joe Rogan, we were talking about this, talking about him getting fact checked and stuff like that. He signs his new deal with Spotify now that he's under a microscope and stuff like that. It's like, dude, like not everything has to be taken exactly.
Literally, yeah.
So you guys get it. Go fact check. I think he threw for 400 yards? I don't know. I didn't check. But anyway, listen, he throws for a lot. Carson Wentz, tough matchup against Cincy, believe it or not, against their secondary. Now, their rush defense sucks. Their secondary, and Carson Wentz hasn't been hot, so be careful. Pat Mahomes against Baltimore's defense, fifth hardest matchup versus the secondary. Be careful with Pat Mahomes, Tim, this week.
Yeah, but once again, he's one of those guys that you have to play no matter what. And with his mobility and the way his awkward throwing and what he can do with the ball, I'd be pretty confident with him.
Yeah, he's a starter either way. I mean, just be careful. Just telling he is playing Baltimore, and they are a 3.5-point underdog, which is weird. I think they're going to cover the points, but that is interesting. Jeff Driscoll here. I mean, who's going to start Jeff Driscoll, who's playing Tampa Bay? Denver's backup for Drew Lock. Not touching him. Josh Allen coming off 2 phenomenal weeks, but he's playing the Rams this weekend. That might bring him back to reality. Going to be a matchup. Me and Tom were saying that we're really excited to watch. Are you excited about the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, so I haven't been sold on Josh Allen. I mean, I like him, but on a team with very few weapons, I didn't know if he could maintain what he did last year. Takes a lot of it on himself. Whew, so far, so good, man. That's all I can say about that.
Matt Stafford, relatively hard matchup, 8th hardest versus position. Cam Newton versus Vegas, going to be a tough matchup. Deshaun Watson, also tough. Then you guys got the middle range guys. Drew Brees, I told you guys, stay away from Brees. Brees has just not been looking good, especially without Michael Thomas there. Mid-range matchup, Brady mid-range matchup. He's looking terrible in fantasy last week. Anyway, Burrow, again, having a good game, but again, a mid-range matchup for him against Philly. So those are your quarterbacks, Tim.
Yes, sir. And let me just say one thing. So Cam Newton, I've always kind of been a fan, but not really. And what I hate about running quarterbacks is I hate a running quarterback that thinks legs first and not arm first.
Right.
And to me, Cam used to be that guy. I always thought that he would that he would run in a situation where he could still throw or throw the ball away. He would try to escape because his legs are so amazing. Yeah. Anyway, this year, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Cam. I think he's been a great fit there. I like his presence on the field. I like what he brings to the team. And then I saw him after the game in an outfit. It was like total pimp outfit, man. It was a bright yellow suit with a big hat on. I'm like, really great on the field. And I know you got some style, you got some swagger, but damn, man, that just wasn't working for me.
It looks ridiculous. And the thing is, it's like, I think I saw a picture. He's being compared to Jim Carrey in The Mask. If you guys see this,
similar,
yeah, I think someone put a side-by-side picture of him and Jim Carrey. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know what you're trying to do. And you and I we went to Rodeo Drive once. We're walking around going to Louis Vuitton, all these stores or whatever. It's like, you're paying $1,200 for a shoe that looks like you can get at the dollar store. I mean, it's just the name they put on it. So I think he's just more into designer stuff, which looks ridiculous and overpriced. I would never wear that. Let's put it that way. I just wear. My wife complains that I wear this shirt all the time. And I don't care. So, all right, let's move on here. So tight ends, it's rapid fire. By the way, Drew Sample, love him. You don't understand, man. I love this guy. I gotta tell you, I'm in a league where the budget, your FAAB. I always have a hard time saying that. Your FAB budget, the FAAB budget was $1,000. I ended up putting down like $275 to try to get Drew Sample, and somebody sniped him. Can you believe?
Why though? Who's your tight end now?
My tight end in that league, I think.
Oh, you've got you're into guys like Fant and Hawkinson.
In that league, I think I have Cook and I have Doyle, and I just want to get a backup tight end, that could surpass Cook or Doyle, right? So anyway, either way, because Doyle's banged up, he got sniped and they paid over $350 to get him. I'm like, damn it. It's a really competitive league. I wanted Sample because Uzomah's down. We know Burrow's going to his tight ends. And Drew Sample, by the way, has a very easy matchup. Look out this week.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas, good matchup. Another guy, another sleeper tight end that could do well. Great matchup as well. Other guys may want to consider the tight end position. Jimmy Graham has got an easy matchup, but again, not that exciting. Had a terrible week. Higbee, a good matchup, who really tore it up last week. He's a prime target there with the Rams. This is a guy that was great value in draft, 6th, 7th round value. This is why I say you can wait on a tight end. Look at him. He's tearing it up, but will it continue, Tim? Tyler Higbee, who knows, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
OJ Howard here. I mean, they all got an easy matchup there. Gronkowski. I read this thing saying that Aaron's is saying, well, if Gronkowski doesn't catch, basically like too bad. We're not going to force feed Gronkowski because he's Gronkowski. So I don't know about that, man. A lot of people got Gronkowski thinking he's going to be the same. I said stay away from him. Brait, all those guys have a good matchup, but who's going to get the ball? I'm not.
Yeah, and we said it wouldn't be the old connection. It wouldn't be the same Gronk-Brady team that was before. And that, obviously we're seeing that. Now, a guy that you just kind of skipped over, I think, and maybe missed is Gesicki. Easy matchup here.
Oh, right. Yeah, Gesicki's got an easy matchup, and Gesicki tore it up last week. I love Gesicki. Another guy that the mainstream sheepsis are all over, Tim.
Okay, let's not get too excited and pat yourself on the back too much. He had one great game so far out of 2.
Okay, we'll see. I think he's good.
So obviously, I'm not sold on him yet, and then I think it could be a hit and miss sort of thing. But this week, he's got a great matchup. I would not hesitate to play him again.
But your man, Jordan Reed, the guy you're talking about,
yeah, 1 year too late.
Yeah, now he's tearing it up, and that's because Kittle was sidelined. So that's another reason. Okay. And by the way, I do last minute news and notes Sunday morning. Okay, with injuries and stuff like that. So make sure you guys subscribe. And by the way, leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. It means a lot here on YouTube. All right, Chris Herndon. I mean, the Jets tight ends, I don't trust them. They got a hard matchup. We're going to hard matchups here. Evan Ingram, second hardest matchup for his position against San Fran. Jason Witten, the Vegas. Darren Waller, believe it or not, he does have a tough matchup against New England. Be cautious with him. George Kittle, I think he's going to sit this week, and if he plays, he's got a tough matchup. And in that case, Jordan Reed has a tough matchup as well. He's on the same team. Again, good matchup last week. Is he going to continue? Reed? I don't know. Great week. So I don't know if that's going to continue. Noah Fant, tough matchup. And again, with Driscoll, very, very hard to trust. So be careful if you are considering starting Noah Fant this week. TJ Hawkinson, tough matchup as well. 8th hardest versus the position against Arizona. And Zach Ertz and Goddard, all those guys, pretty relatively tough matchup there with the Eagles against Tennessee, man.
You know what I got to say here, too? I'm still expecting to see more from Hayden Hurst. He's got a middle matchup this week. Fairly easy. A little bit more on the easy side. But he started off this year with only a 7 and an 18. Now, we're seeing that Atlanta is a throwing team. We said it all along. Atlanta's a throwing team, but they have a lot of weapons right now, especially with the new guy, Gage, coming along. Hayden Hurst is still going to be there for me. I'm not in panic mode yet, but I want to see those 18, 25-point games, 2 out of every 3 weeks. So let's hope this is another one.
Well, don't expect that out of a tight end. I mean, there's just too many targets to go around. Man, you should be happy with 15 to 20 points. I mean, that would be.
I'm happy, but I do want to see some monsters because he's still in a prime position to get some monster games.
Yeah, there's just so many mouths to feed there, especially with Gage getting involved. They thought that Gage wouldn't be there; it'd be more Hurst. But yeah, I mean.
Maybe it was just the whole Julio thing last week, but I doubt it. I still think Hurst is just kind of finding the way into this team. Right. He's there, but he's not being utilized properly yet.
All right, so let's move on. Wide receivers, optimal matchups are the wide receivers from the Cowboys, all optimal matchups. But again, who's going to get the ball? CeeDee Lamb had a great week last week. Amari Cooper did. Gallup, not so much. It could be a Gallup week. Very hard to trust the volatile guys, but they do have a great matchup. Also, guys, Tennessee, Adam Humphries, Corey Davis, good matchup. I think Brown is still going to be sidelined. Not sure. Got to look at the injury reports. I do that Sunday morning, like I said. But Corey Davis, prime for a good matchup. And again, Geno Smith, we didn't talk about him with the tight ends. Start him. I mean, I understand it's not the perfect optimal matchup for a tight end versus Minnesota. I know the receivers are better matched up, but Geno Smith coming off a tear last week. Consider starting him as well. Again, Corey Davis, Humphries, like I said, great matchup. Other guys that have a good matchup. Allen Robinson. Now, he had a mediocre week 1 and 2. If he's going to bounce back, this is the week he is playing Atlanta. It is a favorable matchup. Tim, do you think Allen Robinson bounces back this week?
I hope so, man. I mean, I was expecting better things from him this year, so I'm disappointed so far, and I don't know. He's still a little banged up, so he's got that easy matchup. It's hard not to play him, at least as a flex. You know, you'd have to have a much better option to not take the risk. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Vegas wide receivers all have good matchups, but again, who do you trust there? Is it Edwards, Ruggs being banged up? Like, what do you do? Is it Aguilar? Like, it's just a disaster with wide receivers there. And again, Waller being the prime receiver in Vegas, and they're running the ball quite a bit. Lockett, Metcalf, great matchups, but again, who gets the ball there? It's been a pretty good split the past couple of weeks. Literally, they've been both performing on an optimal wide receiver, high-end wide receiver 2 level. Literally, I mean, you could say wide receiver 1. So again, and that's really predicated on Russell Wilson, a lot of that, and for good reason. Russell Wilson's been crushing it, so those guys have been performing. Terry McLaurin, great matchup this week. Start him for sure. I do like the matchup versus Cleveland. I think he's going to tear it up. Not tear it up like last week, 29 points to be hard to replicate, but he should have a good week. And then I think Godwin, I think he was practicing, so keep an eye out on that. If not, Evans and Godwin have a good matchup.
Now, I think you've kind of skipped another guy here, and he is banged up, so he may not play, but DJ Shark.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think you mentioned him. So, yeah, Jacksonville receivers have a really nice, favorable matchup this week.
Yeah, I mean, with that matchup, I'm not going to be watching that game, but matchup wise, it'd be good. But I'm just looking at that match. Well, yeah, Miami.
Wait a minute, you're going to be watching that game because that game is tonight.
I don't know. I mean,
what do you mean? We talked about this last week too. I wasn't, I was like, last week the Thursday night, or neither of these teams really excite me. But damn, that made for an exciting game.
It's so anticlimactic though. It's Miami. I have no stock in Miami at all. I have Chark in a couple of leagues, maybe some best ball leagues. That's it. I got Minshew as a backup in some leagues. I'm not excited about this game.
And I get it. I wasn't excited for last week's game either, and I'm not excited for this one. But sometimes you take these two lousy teams or two evenly matched teams, and it makes for a good, exciting game. You might not see like some of the best football ever, but who cares? The score is going to be pretty good. The ball is going to be moving. You're going to see some fun stuff.
Right. I mean, I hope so. I really do. I'm going to turn the surround sound. I'll try to get in the mood, but I'm not really in the mood to watch this. All right.
I know. Get some candles, some scented lotion. Yeah.
No, I don't want that stuff that's in your background.
Yeah.
Keep the Vaseline to yourself. All right. So then we're gonna get the haters on you. Why are you talking about that stuff?
Shut up. We like to have fun.
You guys are still a lot of sensitive people out there. All right, so Brandon Cooks, man, good matchup. Him, I mean, Will Fuller fell asleep last. I don't know, but they got a good matchup. Will Fuller, I don't know what happened to him. Like nothing, no targets, no. Like it's so weird, man, because like he had such a good week 1, showed that he is the one there. And I was a Cooks guy, and then Cooks was the guy there. I got Cooks in a couple leagues, and he did better last week. So who is it Fuller? Is it Cooks? Like what? They're a disaster. Texans need to win this week. That's the bottom line, It's
one of those things again. Any given Sunday, and which guy do you want to go to this week? Who do you roll? Like that's all it comes down to.
All right, let's go to the red here. The red sit guys. So the no stop kind of play.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it.
Don't do it. And here's the thing. How do you not do it? Kenny Galladay was practicing. He's your starter, and he's got a tough matchup versus Arizona. I have to start him. I got to do it. It's banged up.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Once again, if you got a better option, I'm looking at it. But, playing a tough matchup, coming back off injury or being banged up anyways, I hate it. There's a risk.
How about this one? Stephon Diggs, third hardest matchup versus position against the Rams, had a pinnacle game, like 32 points. Phenomenal game last week. How do you sit a guy that's red hot but it's got a tough matchup. I'm still starting Diggs. I don't care.
Okay, so look at the full picture there too, though. His quarterback has been red hot as well. So that one has a little bit of extenuating circumstances. Yes, I'm looking at the play of Josh Allen, and I'm looking at Diggs. Josh Allen can move around, so even when things seem to be going bad, he might find a way. I'd feel pretty comfortable playing Diggs.
Yeah. Russell Gage, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. I mean, it's been that trio, and Julio Jones did nothing. You got to be pissed. I think, don't you have Julio stock?
I do not this year. I was not able to get him. I had such an early pick. I took Saquon.
Okay, fair enough.
If I'd have gone later in the first round, I would have taken Julio. Julio has always been my guy for the last several years.
That's not much better. You're better off with a 4. Actually, you know what? You're better off just having a player that goes down and getting these 4 points. You start a guy, you believe in him, he puts up 4 points. That was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, you might as well tell us that he's going to sit, that he's just not ready, and let us put someone else in.
Another tough matchup is the Jerry Jeudy and Denver Broncos wide receivers. Now, KJ Hamler is going to get an increase in volume. Note that. So if you picked up KJ Hamler, congratulations. He could be a viable target there with Cortland Sutton being out, man. That's a steal.
Okay, so another big one here, man. I don't know. You keep on like jumping some guys here. So KC versus Baltimore. This is going to be a crazy game. This is like two amazing offenses going against each other. Baltimore having the much better defense. So, guys like Tyreek Hill and Hardman, these guys are in tough this week, but will they find a way?
Nice. You told me that because I just had my spreadsheet because we do our notes on this, and I actually had the Monday and Thursday night games out of it. That's what I was looking at. So I was looking at the wrong spreadsheet. So I missed out on those guys. Good cover though. Okay. So yeah, man, Tyreek Hill, man, volatile as heck, but he's been consistent. He's getting touchdowns in games. He's putting up points. But I don't know, man. It could be again a Demarcus Robinson game, a Watkins game, a Hardman game. I still think they're going to spread the ball. Byron Pringle has not been active. He's due for a breakout game, right? So I don't know. Tyreek's been consistent. He is as advertised, but I'm not going to think that's going to stay consistent throughout the year. Honestly, and he's got a tough matchup this week.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody on this team, obviously you always look at Tyreek and you look at Kelsey. To me, that's it. That's all I'm really, really going to look at, especially with such a tough matchup. But yeah, that ball can go anywhere.
Couple other ones, and we'll wrap up wide receivers. AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, those guys do have a tough matchup. And again, AJ Green looking really rough, dropping balls, not looking like his old self from like 5 years ago. Obviously, it's been years, right? But not really sold on him. I stayed away. Devontae Parker and Preston Williams, they've got a tough matchup. I know Parker's a bit banged up as well. Man, I just don't trust Miami at all. I don't even know if I could trust Parker to even start him if he is even playing, man. Again, they could have a boom game, but just hard to trust week in, week out.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much it, unless I'm missing something for tough matchups. Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I think we're good there. I think you covered everything.
Robbie Anderson and against the Chargers, right? That's going to be a tough matchup, so keep an eye out on that as well. All right, we got to move on to the final one, which is running backs. We had a lot of fun today getting you guys prepared for your week 3. And this is more than starts and sits, Tim. We are diving right in here.
This is good stuff, man. I want to take it even further, but right now this gets everything. Oh my God, look at who's got the easiest matchup.
I don't want to talk about it. It's Austin Eckler, but Joshua Kelly will outscore him this week.
Didn't we have some kind of bet going on last week?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Hey guys, can you go back and watch last Thursday's episode and tell us what the bet was? Because I've been talking to Joe about it and he's got temporary amnesia.
I don't remember. I think it was something along the line of like David Johnson outperforming Austin Eckler last week, and there's a PlayStation at stake. But let me know, there was no handshake that the PlayStation, or there's nothing confirmed. It was
Welcher.
I know. Anyway, the PlayStation stays safely nestled under my tree.
I would not take your PS5.
My Christmas tree. I know. I'm just joking. All right, so let's go here. So Joshua Kelly here. I mean, I like him, man. 5,000 on DraftKings. I'm going to take him. He had 13 points last week, and they've been going back and forth. I mean, Kelly had the better week 1. Eckler had the better week 2. Who's it going to be in week 3?
Eckler still needs to do more to impress me. So what's funny is your complaint with Eckler was that he wasn't running the ball enough. Well, so far this year, he's been running the ball a fair bit, but not so involved in the passing game, or not as involved as you would expect. And I don't think he's got a touchdown yet, or if he did, he got one week 1 last week, I believe.
I'm not sold on Eckler, but I could be wrong. Miles Sanders, easy matchup this week. Let's rip through this. Kenyon Drake, easy matchup, but I think Chase Edmonds is better value for DraftKings. I don't know. Kenyon Drake, I think he came out and did a tweet on this saying something along the line of like, If you don't want me on your fantasy team, give that gift to somebody else or something like that. Get rid of me. Somebody else will be privileged enough to own me. But he's been looking like not that good in fantasy. So
yeah, it's funny for him to say that.
yeah, James Conner, great matchup versus position against Houston. Adrian Peterson, DeAndre Swift, and Kerryon Johnson. Who's going to be the guy there? I know Kerryon plugged one in last week. I don't trust these guys. Melvin Gordon versus Tampa Bay with Lindsey, I think, still being out. Could have a good matchup this week. He does. Got the 60s matchup versus position. I like that. Kamara, great matchup versus Green Bay. And a guy that I really love this week, and I'm starting him in all DFS lineups. You heard it here first. Jonathan Taylor. He is primed for a huge breakout game against the Jets. I am beyond excited about this matchup for him.
So far, so good with him, man. 15 and 22 in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. Derrick Henry, also a good matchup against Minnesota. Singletary, I'm not really sold on him in Buffalo. They've also got a good matchup there. They haven't really been doing much. And I think that pretty much wraps up the good matchups. Now let's go to the hard, rough matchups, guys, you might want to consider sitting. And this is a crazy one, but you definitely might want to consider doing this. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, coming off a mediocre week 2, now has the hardest matchup versus position. What are your thoughts on Helaire?
Let's hit that one. So I at the beginning of the season said everybody, I was not sold on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't know if he's going to be that answer that everybody's looking for. Everybody was putting him really high. Played an easy defense week 1, did fairly well. Had some big ass holes to run through, put up some points. Good for him. It looked good, not spectacular. Week 2, playing a tougher defense, still did pretty good. I think I said if he could get 15, I'd be sold on him. Just cut it a little short with 13. So right. I think there's still some real good potential there. And I'm still not sold that he was worth that round 1 pick, but he's right there. This is going to be another tough week for him. Once again, if he can perform pretty well, I will be sold on him for the rest of the year, especially when he plays easier teams, at least mid-range defense.
My concern is the volume. So if they don't run him a lot, he's just not going to put up the points. So they are a throw-first team. You need to remember that, and he does have a tough matchup, okay? Mike Davis, tough matchup. I mean, he's coming in, probably going to be the starter there. Carolina with CMC being out, and then he's got to face the Chargers in week 1. Poor guy. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you got the 1-2 punch here with the third hardest matchup. So you got Chubb and Hunt.
Yeah,
boom.
Man. Washington's rush defense, man. They've got some talent there, man. With rookie Chase Young there. So it's not going to be the same type of week. You guys are in this honeymoon stage with these guys, but I'm looking for a decline for these guys this week, Tim. What are your thoughts?
Oh, hell yeah. But let's put it this way. So we bash Chubb a lot, or not really bash him, but we said that Kareem Hunt is going to take away points, going to take away carries. Chubb was on pace for a phenomenal game last week. He was looking spectacular. I'll give him that. What happens in the second half? They pretty much go all Hunt.
Right.
If not, Chubb could have easily had a 40-point game, man. So if you're a Chubb owner, yeah, be happy he got you 29, but be pissed off that he didn't get you that 40, maybe even close to 50 with the way he was going.
Yeah, and this is the frustrating thing right now that I'm having trouble with, because I got David Johnson. I still like David Johnson over Nick Chubb any day of the week, but the problem is he's had some really rough matchups. Like he played Baltimore last week, had 7 points. Yes, he's getting the volume. Yes, he's getting the opportunity, but he can't do much with it because the defense is now he's got the 4th hardest matchup for his position. Yes, there is no Kareem Hunt there. Right, but he's still having trouble. He's going against Pittsburgh now. Like it doesn't get easier for Johnson the first couple games. You know,
I was also sold on David Johnson as having a great year this year, and I still think it's going to happen. What's bothering me there is the lack of targets in the receiving game. He needs to have those, and he's not getting them.
Not as much as he should. No,
he's not that pure hardcore rusher anymore. He's not going to put up that 2,000 yards rushing. I don't even know if he's going to hit 1,500 yards rushing again in his career. He has to have the work in the receiving game too.
Yeah, he does. Frank Gore's got a tough matchup. It doesn't get any easier for those Jets, so I'm staying away from Gore. Zeke Elliott, believe it or not, has a tough matchup against Seattle, but what do you do if in year long? You got to start him, obviously. Peyton Barber and those Washington football team running backs are playing Cleveland. Tough matchup. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette having a great week. That's another annoying thing. Like Arian said, Ronald Jones is our guy, and then Fournette comes out and he's the guy now. Like I told you, he's lying. Arian, they just lied.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I think Fournette should be the guy there. I don't think Rojo's as good as Fournette.
You should, but why lie and say Ronald Jones is our guy? You just basically just because is that a respect thing? You know, it's like, oh, now the hot hand prevailed.
Yeah, it is a slap in the face. If you're Ronald Jones and you're told you're the guy, and then they bring in Fournette for all the runs, all the touchdowns, you're not the guy. Sorry, you just got slapped in the face.
I'll take a hint when you bring in McCoy. McCoy didn't need to be on that team, and he dropped the ball in the end zone. That guy sucks so bad now, man. So bad. Wayne Gallman, believe it or not, the Giants, Freeman, now they are playing San Fran. They've got the 10th hardest matchup for his position. I don't know whether Freeman's going to be a plug and play right off the bat, so it's going to be something to watch if Freeman comes in right off the bat and gets the volume.
Yeah, I'd be concerned. Let's put it that way. I mean, if you want to take a risk, it's worth a risk, I think, but I'd be concerned.
Yeah, and Aaron Jones and Todd Gurley, relatively mid-range to tougher matchups. 13th hardest versus position for Gurley, 14th hardest for Aaron Jones. So, I mean, Aaron Jones came off a phenomenal week, 49 points. That's insane. It's not going to happen again this week. And again, a big part of that is Devontae Adams getting hurt, and they go back to the run. They use him as a receiver with Adams out. So that's what's happening there.
Can I get you to say Gurley has been shit this year?
Yes, Gurley's been crap this year. Yes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the high expectations for Gurley, and he's doing okay with the exception of last week, but yeah, just not the same, not where it should be.
Understand, it is early, but
it is a throw first team.
Yeah, he is a very lackluster performance, to say the least.
They really don't need to use him like as a fake or to draw coverage or anything. They just don't need it. With the receivers they have and Matt Ryan throwing, they don't need to create that illusion.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Gurley, man. I mean, lackluster performance is the only thing that comes to my mind. He's just not. He's lost that pep in the step. That's what it seems. And hopefully he bounces back. That's what we're hoping for.
Get that fire back, baby.
All right. Speaking of fire, what do you got in the background there? Do you got any candles? Do you got any flames? Any
Nothing, man. I mean, what do you want to talk about? I've got the cannabis rub sitting back there. I got my PS3 controller. That's right. I said PS3. I'm old school.
Wow.
I got my Browns hat. I don't know if you can see my Browns hat over there.
Nobody cares. I'm zooming back. Yeah. Nobody wants to see your stuff.
You can black that out. Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, all she's got over there is some hand lotion. And it is strictly hand lotion.
Are you sure?
I am sure.
Okay.
We haven't used that for anything else.
For her, it's hand lotion. For you, it's other things.
Oh, here we go now.
All right, man. We are out, guys. Enough with Tim's toiletries there, and we're going to let you go. Starts and sits, guys, week 3. Hope you had some fun here. And don't take yourself too serious, people.
Have fun. Have a laugh. Come on.
Have fun. All right, guys. We are out. We'll talk soon.
Have a good one, everybody.